Hello everyone, welcome back to the Technology Innovation Hub. It's going to be the second session from Cloud Portal. So about the cloud industry overview. We have been discussing the basics about cloud computing, the essence, the core of the cloud computing. Let me share my screen. Right, so this is what we have been discussing up to this place. We went through the NIST definition, and we went through some practical aspect definition from Azure and about the deployment models and the service model. So today we are going to start the business aspect. Let's focus on that one from this session, the business aspect of moving to cloud computing, like benefits, like let's see, right? Okay, let's start the session with that. The very first thing is why businesses are moving to cloud. That's the very first question. So why they have to move to the cloud? Now moving to cloud means it's a kind of a migration. So and again, definitely they have been operating on premise, right? So that's why they need to go to cloud, no, right? Otherwise, right? So it's maybe they are going to lift and shift, or maybe they are going to operate with a hybrid model first, rather than just lifting and shifting, right? They can operate for certain time hybrid model, something on premise, something on cloud, identifying the less priority applications first to migrate likewise. So I mean, in the migration plan, there are many steps. So anyway, first thing is why we need to move to cloud as a business. Why, if we operate in premise, why we need? Okay, let's go to the reasons first, and reasons and the situations when we need to move to cloud and why. So both will be covered, right? So the very first thing is software and hardware refresh cycle. Yeah, we know that because in a data center, right? Nowadays we plan hardware for 5 years, right? So that's general. If you talk about some time back around 2014, 15, so it may be every 3 years we may renew, right? But those days were all there were 5 years plan. So the data center hardware refresh cycle maybe be 5 years. Now look at that. So if you now it's a capex, capital expenditure. So it'd be 5 years. I mean, depending on the contract. So if in a service agreement, the organization has to go through this. So this can be an issue sometimes, right? But on comparatively, if you are in cloud, the cloud model, the cloud way of performing the same activity is quite different. So you don't have a particular capital expenditure, right? You are going to have a pay-as-you-go model. But before getting to these details, I can show you. I think I have a reference, one of the references. So if you go here, so this is a reference where you can also go to why hardware refresh was cloud conversion crucial to business. It has been given a little bit of details. You can see, you can go to it. And yes, so we are in hardware refresh. So this is what, when you say hardware refresh, it's including a lot of things, like power, cooling, racks, and a lot of things. And it's not just hardware boxes. So likewise, and we have after an expensive refresh, some business encourage the chance of undergoing provisioning hardware to save a lot of money. Yes, so that causes capital expenditure. So right, so they're doing after an expensive refresh. Some business encourage the chance of under provisioning hardware, right? So that's the meaning by new. So because refreshing is not always a suggestion. So we have to decommission. At some point, we have to decommission the hardware. Decommissioning means you are just throwing it away and buying a new box. So that's why all of these headaches are available if you maintain a data center. In comparative, the benefits of cloud conversion. So if you go to cloud, you can see power, cooling, cost, cloud work. So it's all about service. You don't, I mean, no longer you own a data center. It's a service for you, right? So the cloud service provider will maintain these things for you, right? It's no longer in your control. Real-time state costs, yeah, cloud runs on shared infrastructure. The model along with end user here. So likewise, a cost-wide customer. Yeah, okay. So pay-as-you-go model also there, right? Over provisioning costs. So under provisioning risk, cloud gives on-demand direction, implementation, scalability, yeah, capital expenses. So likewise, so just go to this document for you to understand. And upgrade challenges all take care by the cloud service provider. So that's why maintenance again, cloud patches, upgraders, or everything. So it's no longer your headache. So this is one of the reasons, again, is saving cost and time. One of the reasons why organizations, the business are moving to cloud. One of the reasons about to get away from this headache of refresh cycle, right? But if you go to this one, Horizon Technology, so if you go there, they also address this problem in detail. If you take a look at this one, and again, they also consultancy firm. So if you go there, analyzing hardware refresh cycles in a data center 2021. So they are telling more details. They are doing a comparative analysis between whether to keep your data center by keep on refreshing every 5 years or whether to go ahead for a cloud solution. So they give you facts. Just go through these details. It's not necessary to go through one by one. But as per them, if you go to this, is a balance between these two. But ultimately nowadays, most of the organization, most of the businesses are deciding to go ahead with the cloud to remove this capital expenditure. So just go to this document as well. So once this presentation, I'm going to share this deck over GitHub, so you can just click and go to it for your knowledge, right? So that's the best reason why business move into cloud, software and hardware refresh cycle. Okay, let's go to second, capacity requirement. Yes, we know, capacity due to the data growth day by day, your business increases, business growth, so that costs more data, so more capacity planning has to be happen, right? So there's also another critical factor in a data center, right? Actually, in the capacity means not only storage, you have to plan a lot of things because scaling, like CPU, you have to plan. That's also kind of enhancement. The existing CPU power may not enough due to the data growth, so the performance rate is going to go down. And again, power usage. When you increase capacity in terms of other resources, the current, your backup power may be not enough, right? Then the CPU coolings, right? So likewise, rack, the storage, the space, physical space. So all are planning. You need to plan the capacity, growth, occupy the growth. So all headaches are in the data center maintenance team. So they are blocked for that totally. On comparatively, if you go for cloud, everything is taken off from your headache, right? So no longer that cost of planning and the team maintenance is no longer there. That data center team can give priority on other work actually because they are skilled, right? They are skilled enough, and you can, if they don't, they can retrain them and get engaged in the normal. You can add their value also to grow your business in other terms. So you can participate in the business innovation things rather than just getting locked them into the data center maintenance activities, right? So that's another reason why it's going for cloud due to this problem, capacity growth. So in cloud, the cloud service provider manage all those things for you. So again, I think you want to get a reference for this. I have given, this is from Google. Google Cloud for Data Center Professionals. So this one, they use Google Cloud for Data Center Professionals. They give details about this capacity planning in terms of their resources, right? Machine images, access to permission, machine provisioning, and storage, and likewise. So again, you can go through this the resources, right? Capacity includes resource enhancement. That's what capacity planning and resource provisioning, right? So just go through it as a reference for this particular point, right? All right. So let's go for next one. Yes, very important. Yes, security, right? Security risks, there's always day by day the breaches are increasing, attacks are increasing. So, I mean, if you take the responsibility of in a data center to maintain this one, right? I mean, not only a data center, right? Even in the office environment, wherever you have computers, right? There can be breaches happen. There can be security issues, right? So as far as it's under your control, you are responsible. I mean, it goes to the CXO level, right? Not only for the IT manager, director, no, it's go to the top company, CXO level, right? So all are responsible for security. But if you outsource this one, right? If you take it as a service from a cloud service provider, they manage this for you, right? You don't need to worry about that. They are keeping up to date. I mean, we'll come back in more details on advantages of cloud computing, more details on security. So that's the fact. So it's another reason to get rid of this problem why people are moving to cloud in business, right? But of course, somebody can argue. I mean, we don't see the data. Data is not in our control. It's not in our premise. So what about how can we guarantee security? Okay, so those arguments, I mean, in my opinion, are not no longer valid. Even in on-premise, you cannot guarantee security anywhere. Even now, we don't know what's happening in the next moment. So risk is always there. So in my understanding, cloud is much secure than the on-premise now. Right? All right. So move to next one, right? So next point about why business is moving to cloud. So yeah, end of life event. This is another reason. End of life event. I mean, even the software, the vendor can announce, so we are no longer supporting this particular release, so new release is going to come. Right? So then, I mean, in a hurry, we had to go ready for the migration, right? Plan for the next release because our things are going to get incompatible, so compatibility issues, so all the things going to come, right? So that's why if you are owning these softwares, plus again, not only software, even hardware, right? So end of life events are eligible for hardware as well. So again, if you are bearing the maintenance, if you are responsible, so if the organization is responsible for these things, everything, I mean, they have to take care of all of these things because business cannot be affected. The business has to continue. The continuity has to be there. It has to be available and online. Otherwise, the customers will have problems. You are going to lose money. So therefore, this is another reason. If you go to cloud again, they are going to manage this one for you. End of life events is not your responsibility, but you have to make sure you are putting a proper agreement with them, right? Maintenance agreement, right? Service level agreement. So SLAs are one thing, and the maintenance agreement is another thing. So an SLOs, I mean service level objectives, you have to clearly define them and get an agreement as per your requirement with a clear visibility. So then you are safe. All right, so that's another reason. Right. So if you go for another fifth one, the compliance. Of course, the compliance. Right? Compliance is another big problem. Not like the security. Compliance is bigger than security, I guess. So because I mean, in your business, there can be different customers, right? They are the customers can be from different business domains, right? Somebody maybe you may be supporting banking sector, you may be supporting healthcare sector, you may be supporting telco sector. So the data compatibility, I mean, confidentiality varies from this domain to domain. So, I mean, then comes the compliance. Whenever there's a confidential data, compliance comes number one. Because, I mean, before signing agreement, before the customer is going to sign an agreement with you as the organization for the, I mean, you are going to provide a service for them, they will look for this compliance. What are the compliance certificates you have? So if the organization, if the client is, or let's say customer, if the customer is a healthcare business, if you're running a healthcare business, so he will look for the what are the compliance policies that you are adhering, like HIPAA and NOTE, HIPP, to guarantee that you are in compliance with their data. That's what. Right? So not only that, even banking sector, different compliance policies are there. All right. So that's why. But if you go for cloud, you don't have to worry about that. Cloud vendors are they have different compliance. I mean, for different business sector, they have adhered, they have compliance certificates. They are going through it. They are representing those things. So I mean, in their cloud, in their website, there are. I mean, we have different compliance, right? I mean, you have the list of compliance they are adhering to. We can talk about those in later, but I can, even if you Google AWS compliance policy, for a quick thing, I don't think I didn't include that one here because it comes later again. So we can just quickly just do that, right? We'll go to Google. Right? We can take a look at AWS compliance policy, right? AWS cloud compliance, very simple. Right? They have a list, right? Cloud compliance, you can see they will give you their list of certificates, AWS compliance. On that you go down, right? All the compliance things will get listed. Compliant resources, visit our compliant resources, right? So you can see compliant resources. So here, all the list is there. All right. So if I click one of those things, you can see apply solution guide and compliance programs, right? So if you click compliance programs, you will see their list. You can see that, right? ESA, ISO, all the certificates. I mean, right? Depending on the business domain, you see this, right? And this depends on the domain. They have different things, right? Okay. And different regions also there as per their cloud, right? So not only AWS, even Azure, Oracle, Alibaba, they have their own compliance programs equally, right? So, all right, so that's about that. So in cloud, you don't have that problem, right? So the compliance, so that's what we are talking about. And again, the sixth one is renewal of contracts. Yes. I mean, on-premise, there comes a contract renewal time depending on the agreement that you have signed with your support provider for hardware, software. Renewal time is another time to consider. I mean, whether you are going to renew or you are going to exit from the existing vendor for your hardware support, and you are going to sign up with cloud. So that's a decision point, renewals. But again, renewals can be a problem because it's maybe increasing cost for you. And again, it's going to be a new set of terminologies sometimes, right? Not always the same thing going to get renewed, right? New set of conditions are going to come. So again, it's a impact for you, right? So because you are totally responsible for that. But with cloud, the things are behaving differently. I mean, you have the contracts, but they are going to handle most of the things for you. So it's going to be much easier than on-premise. Right? So we'll talk about details on those things later with practical example, but it's going to be another condition why business is moving to cloud. Right? Another one, the acquisition, business acquisition, because acquisition means merging and acquisition. So it's going to be, I mean, it's a kind of understanding between two organizations, right? Because in a time of acquisition, if you acquire another product, so two technology is going to get merged. So how is going to impact your business? So that also matters. So therefore, but in cloud, so those things are, I mean, the integrations and issues they are going to manage, no, right? And the story is going to be a little bit different in cloud and much easier. So again, but this is a condition also. It's a situation where if you can select to move to cloud, the business, right? Because at the time of merging, you can have the business process merging, and when it's come to the hardware terms, right? When it's come to the infrastructure merging, you can think about rather than just renewing the existing hardware, you can think about to go for cloud. Right? It's another condition. So I think I have a reference for this. Right? Yeah. So for science, it's time to move to cloud and how capitalize on them. And you can see it is one of the so when the best time to move to cloud. So that's why it's one of the situations. You can see you are going to merger and acquisition, right? In May. So that's why at this time you can decide to move to cloud, implementing cloud for this strategy. So just go to these references, you can get an idea.
So for the time being, just we come back to these things with case studies later, more details. But for the time being, so it's just another condition and another situation where you can select to move to cloud. So we have 7 situations and 7 conditions. Right. So let's move forward, and those are why business are moving to cloud, and then we get the benefits. Benefits of moving to cloud. What are the benefits? Right. The first thing is we're going to have scalability. That's one of the major benefits. Scalability, right? So we know scalability comes in different terms. You have the vertical scalability, horizontal scalability. So let's check this one, reference for this, right? We go inside, we can see auto scaling. Now this is with Alibaba Cloud. So Alibaba Cloud, they have this auto scaling, right? Auto scaling is a service to automatically adjust computing resources based on your volume request. That's true, because scalability means, for example, now if you say vertical scalability, that means you are adding more, maybe easy to instance. Horizontal scalability means you are, I think it's other way around, right? Horizontal scalability means you are just expanding in your hardware, right? You are adding more instances for your existing environment. Vertical means you are just expanding on your existing systems, maybe adding more processors, adding more storage, right? Likewise. So there are, likewise, you have vertical and horizontal scalability. Okay, so scalability matters when depending on the workload, because so what happens in cloud, it will be auto scale, right? So when the business load increases, automatically they will plug in more processing power, more storage power, so actually more hardware resources into the environment automatically. So again, you have to, depending on the agreement, that's true, but you have to manage the cost properly, right? Because more the resources plugged in, more the cost. But of course, there are things like serverless computing and all event driven, and there are things to consider. But auto scaling means there's a benefit. It's not like on premise. So in on premise, the things, not like in a data center. If you want to increase the hardware, you can't just do it like that, no, dynamically, right? You need to place you need to get, maybe another, where talk to the vendor, and you have to make the order, and a lot of documentation, the provisioning has to take place, right? But in cloud, it's not like that. It can be done automatically, auto scale, right? Yeah, if you just get the definitions of this, I think we have on scaling, you have horizontal scaling. This is what I just mentioned. Horizontal scaling, right? So versus vertical scaling. This is what I just explained. So horizontal scaling, basically adding more machines to cope increased workload. In other way, that is horizontal. That is, you are horizontally expanding. So vertically is you are plugging more hardware resources to the existing machine. So that's the difference between these two, right? So in terms of cloud, this works in the same way, right? Horizontal scaling, you are adding more instances to environment. That's a very basic way to explain it. And vertically means you are adding more hardware, processing power, disk power, whatever the hardware power to the existing computer itself, existing instance itself. And this is a big topic. We don't need to go into that much of detail. Of course, nowadays, this scaling is heavily dealing with containerization. I think if you talk about cloud, right, because if you talk about the Kubernetes cluster and things, right, so now the cloud vendors heavily depend on containerization for auto scaling, because we know the Kubernetes cluster is the number one for auto scaling with pods, right? Let's talk about those in detail later, right? There's a benefit, right? Cost saving, definitely, yes. We don't have capital expenditure. We have operational cost only, right? So cost saving, you go to a little bit of detail on that. So I have reference from cloud computing. So the what is cloud? Yeah, cost is, if you go down a bit, you have Yes. You can see the saving, how cloud computing leads to cost saving, require no setup investments, optimal hardware utilization, energy savings, exactly, no in-house team, yeah, the maintenance cost, eliminate redundancies, yes, duplicate because we pay only for what we use. So likewise, anyway, definitely it's going to be a cost reduction. Right? So you may remember the cloud migration first sentence, right? Lift and shift, save time and money. So that is coming aligned in this. So the third one is what? Competitive edge. That's why in business world, you know, the competition, right? So early you adapt to the latest technology, I mean, that business will have more customer attractiveness and that particular organization will be ahead in competition. Okay. So that's what competitive advantage from cloud computing. You can see competitive advantage from cloud computing. They are just talking about the reasons because we have analytics and those things are there in cloud, so you can get the benefit of those things if you are in cloud. You know how what in a business your decision making matters. So to take the correct decision, you need to understand the customer behavioral patterns, right? So that comes to analytics, right? Predictive analytics and all. So that's what in cloud, those are built-in available, right? And cloud business collaboration and all those things, right? Yes, we have unprecedented accessibility, enhanced productivity, cost savings, and decision making. I mentioned security. Yeah, these all cause you to DR, disaster recovery. Yeah, that's why all cause you to stay ahead with the competition in your business with others. So early you adapt, better the benefit because you get your team matured. You get your team trained on this. So they are becoming skilled, they are becoming experienced. So they will be better value adders to your business rather than just beginning with that, right? So that's what. The fourth one is security. I think we mentioned about that one, why a business is moving. Security is one concern. So if you click here again, security. So you can see this is Microsoft. So Microsoft, they have Sentinel. Sentinel is what? Sentinel is one of their security platforms, right? So this is how the cloud is going to handle security in a powerful way, right? You can go to this document. So this is the Microsoft Azure security block, right? If you click here, as of June 8th, we have released this latest article. So, I mean, it all depends the firewall, the number of security scans they does. I mean, to prevent this one, and they use a artificial intelligence to auto detect security issues and to so likewise. So you can see visualizing, monitoring and visualizing actual firewall activities, so detecting threats and leveraging AI assisted investigation. Right. So that's what they use automatic programs, right? They have their own robots to get these one issues, and I think the fixing is not done automatically, but the detection, right? So because these clouds are not autonomous, like Oracle Cloud, we come to that one later. In Oracle Cloud, Oracle Gen 2 Cloud is a autonomous cloud, so they have this security detection and fixing automatically. But I am thinking at the moment this Azure is only detecting those things. So the fixing, I mean, we can schedule and all, but still human involvement should be there, right? Okay, so that's the example I just want to show you, right? So security, so that's another benefit. The cloud vendor is going to manage security for us. So the fifth one is going to be sustainability. So this is how I mean, eco-friendly. In cloud, we get eco-friendly because you are no longer maintaining physical hardware. So if you again take a look at it, so this is I have given a reference from more sustainable computing platform in the cloud from Oracle Cloud. So you can see energy efficient, cost savings because you are reducing the carbon footprint, right? Because eco-friendly. You are no longer, you can see here with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, we significantly reduce IT operational cost, cutting energy consumption by 20%, simplified administration and compliant delivery scalability, and new made sustainable growth plan. So that's for sustainability. Renewable energy. So 100% energy use renewable. Other clouds also, they have these things. So you can refer to this reference. So that's known as sustainability, right? So these are all benefits moving to cloud. The sixth one is insights, business insight. I mentioned this one earlier as well. The decision making matters. You have operational analysis, and we have the other one, the visualization, data visualization, right? Operational studies is one thing. Data visualization is another thing. Operational means what's happening in the business as of now, but dashboard is you do analytics. You need to get what is your vision is, right? What's going to happen in the future, like, right? Cloud-based analytics, secure, agile, and accessible BI. So this Tableau. So Tableau is one of the famous, what is that? Analytical or the data visualization tools. One of the leading tools, right? So I have given that example for you. Just you can just go through it. So inside, so in cloud, these things are inbuilt. With most of the cloud vendors, they have these separate analytical tools. But Tableau is a separate organization. They offer this one as a SaaS, software as a service. So you can benefit on those things, right? And you can plug this one for your other clouds as well. They support, integration is supported. Okay, so that is number 6 benefit, and you get quality control. Yes, the quality matters. Quality matters simply, otherwise you are just wasting, reusing, and let's check it. So in cloud, quality is inbuilt. So they have different quality control measures. Maximize existing versions, system in quality assurance with cognitive AI. So this is Azure. So they have intelligent systems to optimize quality, right? So that's what the quality assurance expenses, right? Quality assurance management and manufacturing, time consuming, expensive, but critical. That effects of the poor quality are substantial, and they result in, if the quality is low, this is what happens: rework, right? Because it's not up to the standards, we have to rework those things. So it's cost, right? Production inefficiencies, waste in material, expensive embrace in recall. So if you try to manage these things on premise, right? And again, labor involvement is there, but in cloud, most of the things are automated by the cloud service provider, and they manage that part, right? That's a benefit actually. Plus, the 8th point is business continuity. The availability, that we know as a BCP, business continuity plan. Normally in on-premise also data centers, they have business continuity plans. They do DR builds maybe every 6 months, disaster recovery plan. But with cloud, they have their own plans, right? So let's take a look at the reference. And if you go here, this is AWS. AWS marketplace, they have something called Apprenix, right? Apprenix is one of the famous, you can see business continuity and disaster recovery, one of the famous data resiliency tool for disaster recovery, and they have other features as well. Apprenix is a cloud application resilience platform that help enterprises rapidly backup and recover entire AWS application environments or individual AWS resources. That's right. So they provide backups. In case of a crash, they allow you to recover, restore and recover those things. So they make sure the business is up and running. That's a business continuity plan. Business cannot be down, always has to be 24/7 up and running. Of course, there are minuses on those things. We can't say, no cloud vendor is telling 100% availability, right? So 99%, 99. So 99 means, okay, so there can be situations, but yes, much better than the on-premise situations, right? So that's a benefit, right? And again, a cloud vendor is going to manage that one. That's another class. So business continuity, and we have other benefit, the mobility. Yes, of course, true. This is work anywhere, right? You can share data. Yeah, work anywhere. Because we can go to the reference out there. The mobility, that's another benefit. So you can see the cloud mobility, greater connectivity. Yes, you can connect anywhere, work anywhere, because your data is accessible from the device. You're no longer in your local machine at home, right? If you keep it in your machine, it is only accessible in that place. It cannot be shared. But here, the mobility is not like that. Cloud, the data is accessible from anywhere. It's accessible from your laptop, accessible from your mobile, accessible from your other device. So that's what is mobility. Bring your own device concept, right? Automated updates, flexible workspace productivity. These are benefits of mobility. Of course, data mobility is cloud mobility is that accessible from anywhere, anytime, right? And we know the BYD, bring your own device concept, has been there in the market, but now work from home with this COVID situation, rather than bringing your own device to the office, has become work from home. So we have these equalities from BYOD and work from home. Okay, remote working. Let's continue the 10th in that's collaboration. 10th benefit is collaboration. Of course, collaboration between teams. For example, if you talk about Microsoft Office online, so you can share the documents. So let's go to the reference. You can share editing and likewise. So a lot of benefits are there. Collaboration. We move into cloud, right? So this is embrace the power of cloud collaboration. You can see what is cloud collaboration is there and benefit of cloud collaboration. This is what it says: streamline organization workflow. Yes, you can have, or I mean, the what you do here, other person also can see in the same time, right? So improve communication, so that happens. Communication and participation, you are not isolated. That's what collaborative team. Collaboration between the team is very high when it comes to cloud computing, and there's a benefit. Accessibility to files, yes, you know, right? Rather than keeping in your machine, if you keep it on cloud, if you can, for example, G Drive, OneDrive, you can share it. So real-time updates, exactly. So because you can see when a document is edited and or updated, the changes appear real time. So that's what collaboration, right? You can, the other person can see what you are doing in the same time, real time. Better brainstorming, exactly. You get real time data, right? Brainstorming is greater boosting creativity and innovation. Okay, exactly. Right. So these are benefits and what is cloud, what is collaboration means in terms of when it's go to cloud. So that's a benefit. So you can again go to this particular reference. I have given it in the slide. Just yeah, I have go to the yes, okay, whatever, right? Other one means the benefit is loss of prevention. So loss of prevention means that's a data loss of prevention, right? So that's also reduced when it go to cloud computing, right? Because not like on-premise. So I have given an example for your cloud data loss prevention. So this is from Google Cloud. They have this tool, fully managed service designed to help you discover, classify, and protect your most sensitive data. So data loss is you are losing data, right? So you have to prevent it, right? So you have to protect it as well. Take charge of your data on off cloud. So inspiring your data to gain valuable insight to make informed, right? That's what. So this is an example. And effective reduce data risks with de-identification methods like masking, redaction. Yes, so anyways, protecting data, prevent data loss, right? So in cloud, the vendor, the CSP, cloud service provider, they take care about those things. Yes, again, data DLP is a little bit of broad topic, but just to give you an idea. So it's a benefit when moving to the cloud. So loss of data prevention, DLP, right? Data loss and prevention. Okay. Okay. So having talked about the benefits and why the business needs to move to the cloud, we get the negatives, of course. We have talked about negatives also, right? But let's talk about the few negatives, right? So we have the negative points. Yeah, depends on the internet connection. Exactly. Having said that, then whatever, if you don't have proper internet connection with the proper speed, you are going to affect the slowness. I mean, that's why this edge computing and things are coming, the keeping your particular device closer to as much as possible. But it's still, if the endpoints are not properly occupied with the fast connections, you are going to get affected, because cloud is all depends on your internet connectivity. Risk of data confidentiality, yes, still yes. We talked about compliance policy, security, still the risk is there. I mean, you can't prevent it 100% always. The level of security exactly is a negative. Sometimes we may wonder, can the cloud service provider has access to your data? The question, does the cloud service provider has access to your data? Do they have root access? Or the second question is, do they give root access to us in the IC2 instance? Most of them give, yes, okay, but still can be on certain level of risk with security. Compliance, yes, we talk about positive, but still compliance. So vulnerability in the event of an attack, data vulnerability, here is something goes wrong in the cloud machine, how we are going to protect this data. Sometimes suddenly these, services becoming unavailable. You know, if you search in the Google, the unavailability time in AWS, unavailability time in Google, if you look at those data, sometimes there are outages, exactly. Right, there are downtimes, right? Of course, very minimum, but yet there are, right? And you know, enough of cases are there, enough of data loss cases are there in the history, right? Recent history. I can tell you more cases, but let's move on. So vendor lock-in, that's another disadvantage. I mean, you keep on using the cloud vendor for years, automatically you will get locked within the vendor. What do you mean by that? Because you keep on using their features, sometimes these features will become incompatible with other vendors. For example, if you are within AWS for a long time, if you're trying to move away from AWS, you may not be able to, because you are heavily dependent on their own features. That's known as vendor lock-in. So that's why now the multi-cloud and the features are coming in, so that it is distributed, so that vendor lock-in can be minimized, right? That's, okay. But still it's a disadvantage, it's a negative, right? Yes, support issues, yeah. Whatever the SLA agreements are done, still the support issues are there. People who are involved in the cloud business, they know these things practically. We'll talk about those things again later. Account and service hijacking, yes, your cloud account is more critical. Still, your accounts and passwords can be stolen, so can be utilized by other people, right? So these risks are there. Data loss and theft, so we just talked about the DLP, so still this is the other way around. Whatever the protection done from the cloud vendor, still data loss and theft can be there. So, and again, data leakage, that's another thing. I mean, it can be leak, right? Leak means not the total thing, but certain percentage, right? It can be stolen, right? So denial of service attacks and those things are those attacks for that is comes under security, but data leakage, yes. Insecure interface and APIs, exactly, because when you try to do develop your applications within the cloud, you are talking to APIs to get some service endpoints, but it can be mistakenly can be going to the insecure API, because there are a lot of interfaces to API, right? To get the data from another service, you call an API. Also, security of the API matters, right? What it says, but moving to cloud may be inevitable. True, right? Whatever is done, the negatives, moving to cloud may be inevitable. Okay, so that's what. So in the currently everybody is going after cloud, especially with this current pandemic situation, to facilitate the businesses, to keep the business running with the digital transformation. Everybody is moving to cloud. So, and it is inevitable, whatever said and done, the negatives. So I just talk about data leakage, right? So data leakage, if you just say data leakage is unauthorized transmission of data from within the organization to an external destination, data leakage, right? And that is a little bit different to this. Data lost is something else, leakage is that, right? Transferring unauthorized flow from one place to another, right? Okay, so with that, let's stop here the second session because the next thing we need to move it to the cost calculation and all, right? The cloud cost calculation for planning. So let's move it to that with the next session. So for this session, let's stop it here. So I will meet you soon again with the next session. All right. Have a great time. If you enjoy the session, you can put a subscribe. I'll meet you soon. Bye bye.